Hello, this is Alex here from bodyconditioningwellness.com. I just want to give you a little introduction to the podcast you're about to hear, which is some feedback from my members on this special form of body conditioning. This special form of body conditioning goes back 4,000 years and is so suitable for people over 30, over 50, because it really involves nothing more than some walking drills, special forms of stretching, which is creating opposing directions in our body, opposing forces in our body. And this in turn affects our fascia. And we're learning to move our body in a whole other way, where we're using our major muscles first. Like I said, this knowledge is based on 4,000-year-old knowledge. And this is what the generals used, the questions they were posed many, many thousands of years ago is how do they get an army across the territory and be fit to fight at the end of it? And this knowledge encompasses all of that in this body conditioning. Here we have an example of somebody using it within jiu-jitsu, but it's not just meant for martial arts. This is meant for normal daily life because it increases your lung function, your breathing capacity. It makes you immensely strong. It reduces the risk of injuries because you're totally connected. You don't sort of pull your neck and relying on other joints in your body. There's so much to this, and yet the exercises themselves are so easy to do. It's just about doing them every day. Very, very simple exercises. Anyhow, I won't keep you anymore. And let's hear from Mark and Ginny, two of my members. Thank you. Recording. So I'm just here this evening with one of the members, Mark Hance, and we're just going to have a discussion, which I hope to do with other members on occasion, just to find out where they're at with the training, how they're getting on, any difficulties they're having in any way that I can help. And it'd be very curious to get some feedback. So yes, Mark. So how have you been incorporating this type of training?
Well, as you know, I train in some martial arts, as in jiu-jitsu, and you know, I come from a lineage that I've trained with Hicks and Gracie and stuff like that, and sort of he would incorporate probably some of this stuff into his jiu-jitsu. So finding the site was a bit of a godsend because I'd obviously heard of Dan Harden, and I know you train in a lot of the concepts that he would use. So I thought kill two birds with the one stone, and maybe I would like to obviously have tried that training, and coming across your site and yourself was a bit of a find, to be honest. So you were asking, I mean, started off with some of the daily exercises, the e.g. gym warm-up, and particularly like the sort of the idea of the 6 direction, where it gives you a lot more stable base, I think, and a lot more, as you sort of say yourself, feeling of more controlling your own body rather than actually trying to grab another person's body and just willy-nilly try to control it without having a sense of your own sort of connection and sort of center. So sort of running through the exercise now for I'm sure it's at least 7 or 8 months now. I started finding the idea of moving from the center, the Dantian and the Hara, sort of gave me that kind of feeling of what I was looking for in the martial arts, was kind of getting your own body under control, being able to sort of connect, as you would say, your body as a unit, using the fascia. So you're kind of, the idea of moving from the hara, the center. One part moves, every part sort of moving behind it,
Yes.
which really, I first started noticing the benefits of that when, excuse me, when we practiced some takedowns, you know, at the start of class, grip fighting, controls, and it really gave me a sort of more of a connection to the ground and more sort of movement from my center, which I wasn't just hauling with my arms, sort of, which I was doing before, you know, trying to move bigger guys with the power of my arms and maybe then trying to throw my body behind it. Whereas I felt from the ground, my body was moving from the center at once, almost, you know, and I got a lot more power.
What is Mark talking about? Mark is talking about connecting your body, okay, that your body acts as one organ. And the way that we do that is through what they call in Japanese and Gaita Ryo, inyo, okay, which is the union of opposites, where we learn to join our upper torso with our lower torso, where we're learning to get grounded at the same time, pierce the heavens with our spirits. What Mark is talking about here is connecting the body, that we connect the body from toe to head with these special stretching exercises that create opposing forces in our body. And we learn to create opposing forces in all directions. And in the part of that, we're learning to use our major muscles to do all the work for us. So when Mark is saying that he's that moving from center, this going into sixth direction, what he's talking about is models and special form of body conditioning that we do, that we learn to use our major muscles to move us, and we connect those muscles with the rest of our body. And anything we do, we fire everything at once. Our whole body fires no matter what we do. Your whole nervous system comes alight when you any movement that you do. And we learn to move from these major muscles that saves our neck and shoulders, and these are just directors. This is what Mark is talking about.
And I got a lot more power, and people were saying I was moving differently, and this was maybe only after 2 or 3 months of actually incorporating the daily exercises in. People were starting to notice the way they would have said it, which kind of funny. You feel a lot stronger. Have you been working out? Have you been, which I haven't been, apart from the exercises. But it kind of made me smile inside a little, because it does, when you're connected like that, when you're moving from the center and you feel like you're more connected, the fascia is more sort of stretched and connected, it does make you feel a lot stronger. Even in yourself, my base felt better. What we would call base, which you would say grounding, moving from the ground, felt more connected, more, you know, I was moving as a unit, and I was affecting them on almost on contact. They felt me differently, you know, as if I was more solid, more, you know. So I mean, the exercises, you know, are they're very, I think you always say they're deceptively simple looking, but I think you have to kind of get the concept behind them, that you're not training just muscle movements. You're not just training like what you'd say a cattle movement. You're using these to actually ingrain a sense of wholeness, holistic sort of movement in your body, which you can drive from the ground through your center. I mean, I'd always heard the likes of Tai Chi and things saying, you know, use your whole body from the center, but it never clicked with me when I heard that. I never really understood it. Whereas these exercises, as I say, seem very simple, but the way they've been explained by yourself, the way they've sort of been conveyed to me, it made those sort of things make sense to me. You know what I mean? Even Hicks and
Yeah.
I've heard things like connection from Hicks and Gracie, connect within yourself, connect to your partner, but kind of a bit more vague and abstract. And
It is difficult to talk about this area.
yeah.
Yeah.
But I mean, I feel the way you explained it sort of made it seem more sort of, you gave sort of a template then how to train that. And I think when you start,
When Mark says quite correctly that there is a systematic approach to this body conditioning, you don't need to know anything to begin with. And the first part of the journey is just learning all the aspects of what this body conditioning is about, and learning the simple forms of exercises that we do, and you just start to do them. It will take time to get your connections. It will take time to get your fascia connected, but you will have a lot of reward even within a few weeks to months trainings. You start to feel stronger, you start to feel healthier. It really helps your well-being.
And I think when you start training it like that, you find it becomes, when you start feeling it, like you say, it's hard to explain, but
Yes.
when you do start feeling it within your own body, you get that kind of wee aha moment that, yes, I'm doing these exercises, but the way you're explaining them, connecting, getting these 6 directions, connecting from your center, using the fascia to sort of connect your whole body suit, and then moving from bows, etc., or quads. That makes a lot of sense now, and I can see in movements I use like bridging and snaking and stuff. You can incorporate.
Yeah.
Yep.
You can break it down what you need to do. It's the same that I do with the Aikido and the techniques. It doesn't come, this technique, it's opening a qual and a microcosmic orbit, and when you get to a higher level with this, which I want to get to later on a bit. I've got some things where I had a chance to have a chat with Dan Harden and watch him do quite a bit of jiu-jitsu this time, and I took some pointers away from that I thought might be helpful for yourself, and you're already grasping it from what you've said. But just with the techniques, yeah, it takes you out of ego, because you're not concerned about the person you're training with. It's not like an opponent, or it doesn't matter what they're doing, they're just the noise. You're just trying to work out what you're doing in your body, and and by using this terminology, you have an alphabet to how to move in your body. Whether you're rowing forward or backwards, whether you're bowing, unbowing, opening, and like you say, you start to recognize everything that you do are these movements. And what puts it all together? What's the difference between, like, for example, good Tai Chi and bad Tai Chi? Is you can have 2 Tai Chi masters and they say the exact same thing. They're telling you move from center. And one guy, he's moving from center, he feels like he's moving from center, but he's not connected. You have to be connected. It's not just you moving your belly from center and, okay, now I'm moving from center. It's getting this connection where you've taken the slack away in your own body. And so anything you do, even this pointing a finger, you just pushed it on to switch. It's coming from your whole body. You can only, I had a funny example the other day, which just was quite pleasant. I was mentioning to someone else. For me, this power is starting to really come now. To a point where I have to try and gauge where it is, because I can't tell. I do something so slight to me, and to the other person, it feels, what the fuck? It really hurt them. And I was given this really stiff jam jar. No one could open it in the family. No, they couldn't even budge it a little bit. And I thought, okay, it must be a really tough one. And I went and I just put my fingers around the jar, got connected, went into in your hole, which I really went into just and it went tick. It just opened like a click. And I thought, oh, I didn't even have to do it. I was prepared to have a struggle with it, you know. Then I found some other really old jam jar that I hadn't, you know, just should be thrown away really. And the same thing. And I know that would have been a bugger to, no way it would have opened with all your strength with this. So it's what it is what you're learning to do is fire everything at once.
Yeah.
So you're not just learning to take the slack away in your body and all the movements. You're training your body to whatever you do. It's everything is firing. Your little toe is firing. Everything is firing. And if they put you up on one of these meters that measures your nervous system, it would. When they've done this with Dan Harden, I think I've told you before, you know, even when he's sitting still, it's already gone off the scale. It hasn't moved yet. He hasn't done anything yet. As soon as he goes off the scale, the machine has to be recalibrated. They can't handle because they've never seen that before. And that's what we're learning to do. And by that, you get this mass times acceleration equals force. So just that amount of movement already this is so many levels to it. So one is just this, the question of getting power.
Yeah.
Just pure power, and forget technique and all the clever stuff. Just brute power, which when you learn to bow and unbow your back and you start rowing within your row, and the row becomes quite small, so you can be in a standing grappling position and you're going into your back row and you're going into a forward row, but at the same time, Dan Harden, he calls it popping. You're basically you're bowing and unbowing your bows with a lot of acceleration, especially the back bows. So you're sort of kind of going like this, and it just, I mean, the other persons, their teeth are, they're getting whiplash. What the fuck is going on? You know, and it's all out of order. You never do anything in the whole idea of everything with Aiki and Aikido and this whole system. If you think of it, that Dan Harden is sort of rounding off, is that you give the body so much stimulus it doesn't understand, and that's what Aiki really is. You're going up, you're going down, you're going sideways, you feel a pull, you feel a push, you know, there's too much happening. You have a and it's coming from other parts of your body. It's not coming from the thing that's actually attached to you.
Yeah, that was a kind of big thing, that with the sort of standing grappling, them not being able to feel, they sort of look a bit more amazed because it's not actually coming from the grip as such, the point of contact, I would call it, you know, with the grips. It's kind of coming from, like you say, your center, it's coming from the ground. And you can see a bemused look on their face when they expect you to be hauling, first of all, from your arm, but it's coming from somewhere else. It's like, and you see, they're almost gone before they know it. And
yes,
I've just been able to use that, just as you said that there, was just give me a smile, because I kind of I've felt that myself there. And the very basic way, I would say, you know, there's still obviously a long way to go to get anywhere near kind of, but it's something I feel you can pick it up. It's not like the old masters where they say it's going to be like 30 years of training before you're going to be, you know.
This is just retraining your body, and it takes, you've got to say it takes 5 to 10 years that you start to really have it in your body. And something just happens, you know. So there you just heard me say it takes 5 to 10 years to start to get these connections. This is the long-term view, but the fact is, from within weeks and months of doing this exercise, you will start to feel immediate benefits. And this is exercise that anybody can do. And I've taken people that have been immensely overweight and incapacitated to a point within 3 months where they're going for walks and being able to get out of the house. And this is because we're learning to really use this wonderful body knowledge to get our body retrained and restructured and work in such a way that we get so much benefit from movement and exercise. in a very different way to the way the West teaches. So this is the first video of a number to come of this podcast. So thank you.